Welcome back to Wondered Bliss. My name is Kevin. I'm an artist, a poet, and a mere dot in the matrix of reality, trying to connect to one another to find out what the hell we are. Because who the hell knows? We're all trying to figure it out. Everybody's riddled with these questions. Who am I? What is life? What is the purpose? Why are we here? And I don't know. But one thing I do know, although you and I, we may just be small cogs in the machine of life, every engine that I'm aware of is but one small blown gasket away from failure. So don't ever believe or let anyone tell you that you're not important. Even if you're just a small part and piece of this thing. You are. Everybody serves their role. That much I know is true. But I'm back today, reading a bit more from my book of poetry, art, and prose, What Struggle Brings, by me, Kevin Faulkner. If you'd like to get a copy, it's available on Amazon or Barnes & Noble online. Pretty much every online distributor, you should be able to find it. But I'll give a link at the end if you like. But this episode today, I'm talking about spirit. I'm talking about God again. And these ones always get me a bit nervous, a bit lost in thought, because I don't entirely know what God is, what the point to life is, what the purpose of any of this truly is. I don't know, just like everybody else. There are many people that claim to know, but does anyone really? I think it's all way more complex than anybody in a lifetime, I think, could ever understand. I think there's a good chance that God is still trying to understand exactly what God is. I think it may just be curious enough of a question or a reason that God had life begin. To answer this question, to find out who and what it truly is, all of its true potential, the infinite thing, the infinite force. What is that? What truly is possible? And how could you know if you don't give it the chance? You don't try. You don't come to life to see what all could be. I don't know. I find it curious. I'm baffled by it. I think everybody is. But I was raised very religious. I had all kinds of people telling me every Sunday, every other day I'd show up what to believe, how to believe it, what to do, why not to question it. They're all forcing it down my throat, telling me it was true, and for a while I believed it. There were always things that never quite sat right with me, particularly how adamant so many of the people in my church were about not questioning the faith, not questioning the book, the word, not questioning God or any of these beliefs about God. Otherwise, you open yourself up to the threat of eternal damnation. That bothered me a lot. It still does. The idea that we aren't supposed to question, that I'm supposed to just believe this thing because either a book said it's true or my pastor, preacher, or teacher told me it's true and they believe it, so you best not question it. That's always bothered me. Because we're alive with these inquisitive brains, designed to question. Why would God bring me to life with this questioning mind and threaten me if I use it? Why would that be the case? And I don't think it's true. I don't think, personally, that we're under the threat of damnation for asking questions, for wanting to discover the truths of reality. I think we're supposed to do it. I think it's why we're alive. To figure out all that we are, to grow and to expand in all the ways that we can. But we never will if we're afraid to ask the questions. Who am I? What is this? And there are many different ideas that will tell you what you're supposed to do. Many different rules, and you'll find it in every different religion. You'll find it in many different books. And most of those are probably good things to live by. I was raised in a Christian-based faith, and if you look at the 10 Commandments, it's a pretty good set of rules. If you follow those, you'll likely live a pretty good life. But who are you in the midst of all of that? What do you want? What do you desire, truly, inside and out? Who are you meant to be? I don't think that we are these damned beings, that we are inherently flawed. I don't. I think we are perfect creations of God, but we are built to grow and to expand, to become the fullness of who we are. We are the seed of potential, waiting to be planted. But so much of that is through the personal exploration that we have. It's through asking the questions of who am I? What is this connection, this thing? What is God in its entirety? Searching after that, I think you'll find yourself. I don't think you'll find it necessarily in a book, or in a church, or in anyone else's mind. I think you'll find it in your own personal connection to the thing that is God, to the thing that is love, to the thing that created you to be who you are. I think you'll find it there. But I'll read this thing because I've had many questions. I was atheist for a long time. I rejected everything I'd ever been taught and I'd ever learned because certain things didn't sit right. I didn't like how people were forcing their ideas upon me, so I turned my nose up to it. I rejected it all. And I've suffered many consequences because of it. But I think it was a pretty important stage in my life because it got me to ask different questions. It got me to have personal realizations that I just didn't have before. But I'll read this and we'll talk about it a little bit more. I titled it Spirit, and it's just a piece of prose here. I have been searching for signs and have gotten weird answers. It's tough to connect the dots, assuming there are any dots to connect at all. One of my biggest gripes with religion or spirituality is the vague nature of the thing. I have been a big believer in the idea of coincidence, and have been quite atheist for some time now, but I can't shake the feeling that there has to be a meaning to all of this. I have felt very nihilistic for a while, imagining that life is purely physical, and frankly nothing more than sheer luck, applying any meaning to simplistic interpretations of the brain functions that propagate our existence. But I don't know. For a system like us to exist, that is striving to find meaning, there is a good chance that there is something that we are searching for, some inherent truth that we are built to discover. It's too odd, really, that any of this is happening at all. There must be something there. There must be. That's the end of that. And I'm not here to stomp on anybody's beliefs. I'm not here to tell you what to believe. I don't know exactly what the truth is. I don't subscribe to any religion or set of ideas really right now. I don't. But I have opened my heart back up to God, to the thing that is God. I don't necessarily have a picture-perfect, clear image of what God is, but I know it's there. I've felt it. I felt its presence. I didn't believe it for a long time, and because I was so adamant in my disbelief, I rejected a lot of those feelings and promptings that I was still getting then, because God is always working. That is something that I know. Whether or not you believe in it, or however you might believe it, what you call it, I don't think any of that necessarily matters. Just because you'll call it a certain name or pray to it in a certain way, it doesn't affect how God works. God is working all of the time. But it will affect how you connect to it. Because like I was saying, adamant in my disbelief, I would have rejected all of it. So I would have taken what is a clear prompting or connection to source and called it by something different, a random inspiration, a random thought, a random thing. But God is working the whole time. And I'm looking at this here, trying to break it down, to find the right thing to say, to offer some type of meaningful something to you. But the only thing that I can think of right now, the most important thing that might come from this entire episode, is that this life, this physical life, is absolutely tied to it all. There are a lot of ideas out there that I think are quite silly. That this is just some testing ground for the soul to determine our eternal salvation or damnation. I don't think that is true. This life, it's absolutely incredible. It is a dance for the soul. It's a place for us to come and be, to expand, to play, to experience heaven and hell. Because I think that they are experiences more than destinations. And I think that they are really, at their core, how aligned we are with the energy of God. Are we in accordance with it, or are we in discord with it? And you'll feel it. I've felt both. And it's not comfortable. And so much of that is just being aligned with purpose. Knowing in your heart that it is meaningful, that life matters, that this matters, that you matter. That's what's important, I think. I don't know. There's the physical life and the metaphysical side, but they're intrinsically tied. I don't think there's anything separate between them. But it's hard to say. It's hard to say. I don't know exactly what to say. I'm going to put the book down. I'm reading through it, and it's triggered this whole episode because I'm going through page by page talking about it. But I don't have all the answers. I don't. So I don't know entirely what to say to you. Other than the time that I've spent questioning has opened up the door for me to begin to have my own personal connection with the divine spirit, life in and of itself. And that, I think, is important. That may be the most important part. No matter what religion you're practicing, no matter how you've connected so far, is it a personal connection that you've had with God, or is it something that's been forced down your throat? Do you believe it because you believe it, or do you believe it because someone else told you to? And if it's the latter, then you probably don't actually really believe it. You may want to believe it. You may have convinced yourself that it's true. But somewhere deep down inside of you, there's probably some resistance to it, because you haven't found that connection on your own. And I won't tell you where to find it, because I don't know for sure if any church is true or not. Exactly. But if it's a personal connection that you've had, then it's good. If it's not, then ask every question. Don't fear it. Find it for yourself. Connect to God so that you know that it's real, that you know that it's true. And if you're swimming in a lot of those atheist nihilistic circles that I spent a lot of time in, I'll only challenge you a little bit, just to ask this question here. Do you not believe because you're rejecting something you were told to believe? Or have you gone and searched for a personal connection on your own and not found it? Because I know from my personal experience that when I actually open my heart to the thing that is God, when I asked the question, absent of religion, absent of everybody else, what they were telling me to believe, and I just wanted to know, is something there? In some of the oddest and most interesting ways, God or Spirit has shown itself to me. I've felt its presence. Not through any religion, not through anything other than just me wanting to know. And it takes time. It takes time to lessen the resistance that you may have built up in yourself. But if you feel disconnected right now, the only thing I'll say is try again. And keep trying. Let go of anything anybody's ever told you to believe, and just search from within your heart. Use your heart. Use that feeling, that love. Connect to it. And you'll discover what's there. It'll connect with you, I'm sure. And it may leave you with even more questions, just like I have today. But that's okay. We're designed to question. We're designed to explore. So explore a little bit. Check it out. And try to connect until you do. And then once you have connected, keep on trying, because all you want to do is keep on trying. At least that's the case for me. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much value this episode has to you. I don't know. It's hard to say. I'm not an expert on it. I'm not a prophet. I'm not anything other than a poet and a man. But I do know that God is real. Now. In some way, shape, or form. I think every form. In every way. God is real. But I'll leave it there. I'll come back with another episode at some point, sometime. You can check out my website, www.wonderedbliss.com. You can find a link to my book there. I have different merch and different things on there. If you'd want to check it out and you want to buy it, I'd appreciate it. And we'll come back another day, have another discussion. Until then, peace.